Collier, Sahib? Derrick Collier?
And I couldn't understand.
Oh, well, don't worry. No, but it's just a message for a friend of ours in Britain.
Oh, I see.
Any message from Mrs. Thatcher?
In Radford? Mrs. Radford?
You can give a message.
Yeah,
if you like.
all Delhi city. I'm bicycle drivers.
Ah. Okay, well, I'll pass that on to Collier Sahib. All right, thanks. Okay. Right, well, what I wanted to say was I remember very much about 20 years or 22 years ago when I was starting off in television. You were one of the good guys who was really helpful. I seem to recall going round in your trail in Northern Ireland and in Vietnam and a few other dusty places with you and the pogo stick man Graham Veal, and occasionally having to shunt Ronnie Robson, the occasional correspondent, out of the way, who periodically wanted to do the same sort of thing. And you always had a great line of chat, buttering up ladies with pedigree, it seems to me. This was what we decided to serenade you with at the end, Derrick. Bit of a song and dance routine from the old Red Fort in Old Delhi. 20 rupees, so it's a fairly reasonable one on the establishment costs, or is it T&D these days? Brilliant, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Thanks very much. Derrick, have you got any change? 20 rupees. Derrick, from us, mate, all the very best, and we'll buy you a jar sometime, someplace soon. Thanks.
Derrick, it's been a long time and a lot of countries, starting, as I remember, with the coverage of small bank robberies in Muswell Hill and a story about metrication which began with the words, "Consider the common screw," in which context we will pass lightly over the lady in New York who was rather less than you thought she was, and come down just to saying that, for me, you are, as cameraman, friend, companion and charmer of birds off trees, one of a kind. And it isn't only my opinion, it's Mrs. Thatcher's too.
To those waiting with bated breath for that favourite media catchphrase, the U-turn, I have only one thing to say. U-turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning.
I wouldn't put money on that.
Quick step, please. Quick step. Quick step.
It seemed to me to be quite a genuinely pathetic film.
Yeah, it is so.
I told you the lady was returning.
As always, I rose to the occasion, and the Prime Minister, if I may say so, she got a very sexy turn of heel. And it quite surprised me after the first couple of spins, but I got back into my stride, and you know, the band kept going, and in the end, I had a job to get rid of her.
So it sounds like you were quite excited by this occasion yourself.
I was in a state of shock at the end of it. I had to have several pints and stay to the bitter end. And we all sang Land of Hope and Glory and Royal Britannia. There wasn't a dry eye in the house, I can tell you, and there were some very ugly faces in that crowd.
Yes.
Well, after that display of political bias and wanton sexuality on the dance floor at the Conservative Party conference, Derrick Collier's devotion to Margaret Thatcher became quite unshakable, rivalled only by that of Bernard Ingham. There was even talk of a knighthood. Sir Derrick Collier, for Pete's sake.
You're a bit preemptive in the sir. It's a bit early for the New Year's list yet.
Right, well, maybe I've had a nod this morning. How do you know?
Well, I had a wink last night.
Margaret Thatcher began to show signs of distraction from her job as Prime Minister. At subsequent meetings, Collier allowed her to handle the tool of his trade, and in her ecstasy she produced pictures superior in quality and composition to those turned in by Collier himself. Was this, she wondered, the start of something new? Would one thing lead to another, to her ultimate union with the dashing news hound of her dreams? Hounded by the hacks one day, she blurted it out. It was, she said, her hope and her belief.
Just a hope.
My personal recollection of Collier's sheer sexual magnetism was the day that he told a particularly snooty lady at the Conservative Central Office that she was looking rather charming today, my darling. But his steamy relationship with Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister, came to an abrupt end when she took early retirement and Collier applied for the presidency of the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals.
Get out of my location. Come on, out of it. We might take him on if he was fit. He's wasting our time. We're not going to get breakfast, are we? Let's be practical about this.
And so Derrick Collier, unsung statesman, orator, companion of the powerful and all-round smoothie, ends his days as a penniless ex-cameraman of the British Broadcasting Corporation. And here too, there isn't a dry eye in the house.